Most backpacking days don't fall apart. Nothing goes wrong, you're not injured, the weather's fine, the trail's decent, and yet a few hours in, a lot of people start quietly wondering why they're even out there. Most days on the trail start way less inspiring than people expect. You wake up a little stiff, your gear's damp, and you're doing chores right away. Stuffing a sleeping bag, packing a tent that's still cold, trying not to lose anything in the dirt. Then you put the pack on. It's not crushing, but it's heavy enough that you notice it immediately. And then the day starts, and it's not a montage. It's steady effort. You're watching your footing, adjusting straps, paying attention to your shoulders and your hips, thinking about water, heat, distance, and time. You're moving, but you're also managing a lot of small things at once. And maybe there's something you're excited about later, a lake, a ridge, a pass, or a campsite you've seen pictures of. But for long stretches, what you're actually doing is just walking with a pack through terrain that's fine. It's not suffering, but it's not always rewarding either. It's often just work. And eventually you hit the good part. The view is epic, the lake looks amazing, so you stop, you take it in, and this is the moment people picture when they think about backpacking. But then you put your pack back on because the day isn't built around that one spot. There's still mileage to cover and camp to make and enough daylight to worry about. That's the first big mismatch. The highlights are real, but they're often short. Most of the day is eventually just kind of surrounding them. On paper, a single day may look pretty simple. 8 miles, maybe 10, that doesn't sound wild. But out there, it's never just the miles. It's stopping for water, stopping to adjust your pack, stopping because the trail gets slow and rocky, stopping because you're hungry again somehow, stopping because you can't just power through the day like a normal walk. None of these stops are dramatic, but they are constant. You sit down for a minute, then stand up, and your legs don't love that. Taking the pack off feels amazing after you've been hauling it for an hour. Putting it back on feels worse than before. So the day doesn't feel hard in like one big way. It feels hard in a bunch of small ways that never fully go away. And that's not a bad day, that's a normal one. This is where most people get tripped up mentally. If you haven't backpacked before, it's reasonable to expect that a good trip should feel good most of the time. Not perfect necessarily, just like a lot of good stuff spread throughout the day. So when hours pass and it mostly just feels like steady effort, your brain starts trying to explain it. Am I doing this wrong? Is this trail just not that good? Did I plan this badly? Is this supposed to feel like this all day? And the thought people don't usually say out loud. I thought I'd be enjoying this more by now. Nothing is actually broken, but it feels wrong because it doesn't match the picture you had going in. Experienced backpackers don't avoid this feeling because they're having fun every second. They avoid it because they already know this part is coming. They don't treat all the constant effort as a warning sign. They treat it as the baseline cost of moving through places that aren't easy to reach. And if you don't know that ahead of time, a completely normal backpacking day can start feeling questionable. When people imagine quitting a backpacking trip, they usually picture something obvious. Bad weather, an injury, complete exhaustion, a clear reason that the trip would end. That's not how a lot of trips actually end. They end during moments like this. You stop for a break, you take your pack off, you sit there a little longer than planned, you're tired, you've still got miles left, and the day hasn't really felt the way you expected it to feel by now. Nothing's hurting badly, there's nothing broken, you could keep going, but the question shows up anyways. Is this actually worth it? And it doesn't feel like an emotional decision at first. It feels practical. You're doing the math. Time, energy, daylight, motivation. You start thinking about the car, real food, a shower. That's the quitting moment most people don't expect. It's quiet. It's logical, and it happens on days that are technically going fine. And I've hit that moment plenty of times myself. Dirty, tired, sore, thinking, why am I doing this again? And if you don't know that thought is coming, it feels like a meaningful insight, like it's telling you something important about the trip. And that's why a lot of people end up turning around on a normal day that wasn't actually a failure. Backpacking really does have amazing moments. People aren't exaggerating when they talk about those. What throws new people off though is how those moments show up. Most days you're putting in steady effort, walking, managing the pack, thinking about water, and then you hit something that's genuinely impressive. A view opens up that takes your breath away. A lake looks more spectacular than expected. And for most people, those truly epic moments are enough to make all the regular walking and camp chores feel worth doing. And from the outside, experienced backpackers can look tougher or more motivated, but what looks like toughness from the outside is mostly just familiarity. Experienced backpackers aren't having a better time minute to minute than anyone else. They just recognize what a normal trip feels like. When things feel slow, effortful, or unremarkable, it doesn't raise concern. It matches what they expected to be doing out there. They're just moving through it, knowing that this is what most of the time actually looks like. That gap in expectations is hard to describe ahead of time, especially to someone who hasn't lived it yet, which is why backpacking is one of the harder outdoor activities to really explain to someone who hasn't done it. If you say to someone, well, most of the day is just walking, that sounds obvious. If you say it's a lot harder than it looks, that sounds a bit intimidating and dramatic. If you say it's absolutely amazing, it sounds a little misleading. But all three of those statements are true about backpacking. A normal stretch might be 2 hours of walking where the scenery is fine, but you're mostly watching your footing and thinking about the next water stop. It's harder than it looks because the pack weight never disappears, your legs always stay a little tired, and every time you stop, it requires energy just to get moving again. And it's amazing because every so often you round a corner, hit a view, or reach a quiet spot that makes all the effort totally worth it, even though that moment might only last a few minutes before you're moving again. The in-between parts don't always translate well unless you've lived them. So new people show up with reasonable expectations of what a trip should be and then feel confused when a normal day doesn't feel the way they thought it would. That confusion usually fades once you recognize the pattern. You stop waiting for backpacking to feel good all the time and you start understanding why those short, quiet moments usually stick with you long after the trip is over. And if you want to see everything that I recommend beginners bring on their first few backpacking trips, and just as importantly, what I don't, this next video goes over all the gear that you need to get started. So keep your expectations realistic, pay attention to what your body's telling you, and I'll see you on the trail.